Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, what's your name?
Derek Delamati.
When were you born?
November 4th, 1971.
Okay. Did the Cold War influence your life in any way?
It did, yes.
How?
Well, it first directly impacted my life through where I was born. I was born in Guam. That's a small island just southeast of Vietnam in the Pacific Ocean near the Marianas Islands.
Mm-hmm.
I was born there because my mother and father were medical workers during the Vietnam War. They were not soldiers or in the service, but they were contracted through the government to work as civilians on a naval base in Guam, where they took care of soldiers that were injured during the war.
Okay. How long were you in Guam?
I was there from 71 to 75.
Okay. Are there any other ways that the Cold War has influenced your life?
Well, growing up in a small town in Ohio, that was the home of the M1 Abram tank plant. It was one of the United States' largest oil refineries, and it also was we had a lot of automobile manufacturing plants there as well. Growing up in the 80s, we were told that we were on the top 10 list of Russia's nuclear war striking zones.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always this fear as a child that it was taught to you to be afraid that one day we could be bombed. We had nuclear fallout shelters in our schools. We did a couple,
Drills.
kind of like a fire drill, but we did drills where you knew you had to get down to the fallout shelter. So that was a big impact just as a child, being fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, through politics, listening to politics as a child and your mother and father talking, you had this innate fear of Russians in general.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really know anything about them because you grew up in a little town in Ohio, secluded from the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have the internet and things like that where you could communicate with other people to kind of find out who they really were.
Mm-hmm.
You could just go on what was told to you. And as a child, you were told to dislike Russians, dislike communism, dislike anything about them. So you just automatically hated them. Movies were made when I was a child that, influenced our thoughts on the Cold War, or the Cold War influenced the movies that influenced our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Rocky with when he fights the Russian and they have fake communist leaders that are manipulating the athletes to be better than the United States athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Olympics where in the 1980s the U.S. Refused to go under Jimmy Carter to the Olympics, and then you had 1984 when Russia would not come to the Los Angeles Olympics. So there was this just love-hate relationship between the United States and Russia. And like I said, as a child, you just had no idea what was really going on because your parents just tell you what they hear on the news, and you're not really sure. So there was a lot going on that mentally affected children of that time.
All right.